Morning.
Where have you been all night?
I went to Charlie's and we had a few beers and that was it. Just crashed on the couch.
So you stayed the night at Charlie's?
Yes, I was.
Really? Because I called Charlie and he said that you weren't there.
So you're checking up on me again?
I have to. You're always lying to me.
Well, you can't handle the truth ever. But if you know what, you're gonna find out anyways. I had more to drink than I should have again, and I got pulled over, and I blew a .16, but I'm pretty sure that I can fight that.
Another drinking and driving ticket?
Yes.
Great. What'd your breathalyzer say this time?
.16, but I'm pretty sure that I can fight that.
So this is your second DUI. You already didn't have a license, so you're probably getting a ticket for driving unsuspended. And you're likely gonna lose your job. You know what else? You're gonna lose this marriage too.
Okay, well hang on. Yeah, with all the threats, I'll go to work and I'll meet with my EAP, see, about treatment centers or...
It has to be treatment with professionals, inpatient treatment.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know where to begin.
Okay, well, Christy and Alex told me about a website, driverslicenserestores.com. Let's look on there. It has a list of attorneys and treatment centers.
Okay. Well, why don't we look online and see if there's a treatment center that takes my insurance?
Here's a list of attorneys in our area.
I've heard about him.
Mark Mandell?
Yeah.
It says he specializes in drinking and driving and family law.
No, that's perfect then.
All right, do you want to call him?
Yeah, I'll call him.
All right, that's the man I married.
Ryan, your wife told me you found me through Driver's License Restorers.
Correct.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've been getting a ton of phone calls from them. That's a good organization, good company. So I'll have to let Bob know that you found me through that. But in any event, again, it was nice to meet you, Mark Mandell.
Nice to meet you too,
And did your wife tell you to look at my website, fb-firm.com? Were you able to look at it?
We were, yeah.
Oh, good, very good, yeah. And so you saw all the how I laid it out, just like driver's license restores, with the sanctions and the penalties associated with your charge in this matter.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
because that's pretty helpful.
Yeah, and you laid it perfectly. I mean, it was pretty self-explanatory.
In this case, you were at .16. They had a reason to pull you over, and we're definitely dealing with damage control. So, as I told you on the phone, my goal is to pick up the pieces and put you back together. You, your wife, your family. I brought Scott with me, who works at Brighton Hospital, to talk about recovery. But I just sort of want to give you a little big picture view, all right? Because what I want to do is I want to put you in a position with the prosecutor and the judge, all right, that they know you're being proactive. If we've got to be in front of the judge and the judge is going to tell you to go to rehab or go to AA, they're not going to treat you from a position where they want to help you as much. They may hit you with the hammer. So given that this was in Michigan, your second offense within 7 years, right now, all things equal, your license would be suspended for a minimum of 1 year. Now, if we were to get you through a deal with the prosecutor, because you already acknowledged that you were drinking and driving, and I've told you that there are varying degrees of drinking and driving. In your case, you were charged with a second offense. But some courts in the state of Michigan will allow you to go into a sobriety court. Now that's the same court that you're in, but in essence the judge puts on a different hat and he's wearing a sobriety, he or she's wearing his sobriety court hat. Sobriety court's very intensive, but as Scott's going to tell you when I'm done going over this, this isn't the first time, or for that matter, the second time you were caught drinking and driving. We've talked about it. You've got to do some soul searching. It never gets any better. It only gets worse. Scott will tell you that. He's the expert in it. So at some point, if you want to move on, you need to get treatment. And the sobriety court, the sobriety courts in Michigan may vary to a certain degree, but they're all very intensive. But for driving restoration purposes, the best thing on a sobriety court, instead of going over a year without a driver's license, we could put you in a position that within demonstrating to the court that you've been sober and in treatment for 90 days, which could actually start before you're even in the court system. If we can show the 90 days, you could actually be eligible through the district court and sobriety court to give you restricted driving privileges with an alcohol ignition interlock. If we can't get you into a sobriety court on a second offense, irregardless of what the deal would be, you're going to go at least a year, and it doesn't matter if it's Michigan or other states. You know, the law is fair. So the only way to help you is to be proactive. And so many people talk about jail time with second offenses. If you were to get a third offense in the state of Michigan, guaranteed you are doing a mandatory minimum 30 days. If you're in different counties, it varies. Some counties in the state of Michigan, or depending on the judge, they may give you 3 to 6 to 9 months, but the minimum's 30 on a felony. In your case, on the second offense, it's not uncommon not to go to jail if you're being proactive, but what both of you need to think about, all right? It's sort of counterintuitive, but you need a driver's license to get to the AAs, to get to the inpatient, and to work, because it's a vicious cycle. Yes, you broke the law and you should be punished, and there's a reason for the laws, all right, to deter people. God forbid. Both Scott and I have seen victims of drunk driving. It happens. We've seen people injured very bad. It happens. There's a reason for the laws. But without a driver's license, it's hard to put you in a position to get to the AAA, to get to sobriety court. And on a second offense, getting you into a sobriety court, that would cure a lot of problems. If you have a third offense in the state of Michigan, thank God you didn't get charged with the third offense. Because unless you can talk to an attorney that's got a good relationship, I've got good relationships with judges and prosecutors throughout Michigan, but unless the prosecutor's office isn't willing to give you a second offense, you're going to go many years without a driver's license and not even be eligible. Scott? So that's sort of a big picture view, and then I'll gladly answer your questions, but you know so much about the recovery and where he's at mentally, if you could speak to him.
Yeah, well, like Mark says, I mean, being proactive is the key, and, you know, having this conversation about this issue and looking at ways to address it is very important. And one, you know, obviously, with your lawyer's help in directing you to a treatment facility, and like what we do at Brighton Center for Recovery is provide an inpatient setting, but also a continuum of care that addresses not only the issues that you're facing with, you know, the alcohol, but addiction in general and the progression of the disease. I mean, this being your second one, you can just see your second offense with drunk driving, the progression that this is taken. And it's gotten your attention now that, you know, it's gotten to this point, but things can continue to get worse if you don't start to address it. So with that being said, you know, what we have to offer at Brighton Center for Recovery is, you know, the inpatient program, and then we can step it down to intensive outpatient, and then you can start working on, you know, working with your lawyer to do the things that the court might ask, but you're addressing it in a proactive way, so the court looks very favorably on that. And also, you know, because this is not only an issue that's affecting you, it's affecting your family, we'll be able to kind of address those issues as well.
And Scott and I have had many discussions about this, like, contrary, and maybe it's a misnomer to people's belief about a criminal defense lawyer, but when you really look at the overwhelming majority of the reasons why people are hiring attorneys, like if you go to my website, right, maybe I showed you that, fb-firm.com, all right, I've laid out basically 90% of all the criminal statutes that the majority of people are being charged with. And it basically breaks down to 4 or 5 categories. It's alcohol, it's marijuana, right, Scott? Prescription drugs, heroin, cocaine, domestic violence. Somewhere in that umbrella, and obviously you two are married, and that's why, you know, calling Scott and getting the help. People don't want to ask for help. You need to be vulnerable. You need to have humility. But if you saw all that, the next step is divorce. And, you know, you do have 2 beautiful kids, and you don't want to have to go through that process.
Yeah. I mean, one of the big things that we always talk about in recovery is playing the tape through. you know, so if you start playing the tape through, if you continue down the current path that you're on without addressing it, you know, just look at the progression that it could take, and you know, your wife is here supportive of you now, but you know, who's to say that this happens again? You know, where the support will come from. So I know you use the resources from the driver's license restoration website to, you know, find Mark, and it's always good, you know, when you look at this from a standpoint, a comprehensive way of addressing the issue, you know, with a lawyer that understands this issue, and a treatment center that, you know, offers all the help that you'll need, and then to just continue to reconnect you to the resources that are available to you.
You know, Scott, you touched on one more point that I just want to reemphasize. Time heals wounds and time moves on. And you'll get through this, and if you're proactive and you take the right steps, you'll be in a better position in your life than you've ever been. But with one caveat, if you don't have a driver's license, it's hard to move forward. So many people come to me worried about the jail, and I said, the jail is the least of your concerns. We've got to put you in a position where, in this case, the state of Michigan and the Secretary of State can trust you operating a car so you can pay the bills, so you can pay the courts, so you can pay the therapist, and so you can help support your family.
Well, it's been a pleasure meeting both of you and to talk about this, you know, this issue that sometimes is pretty tough to talk about, but you know, I'm so glad that we were able to meet, you know, from finding all the information you needed through driver's license restorers. I know there's quite a bit of resource there throughout the nation. You know, finding Mark Mandell through driver's license restorers as well. So, you know, it kind of just shows the whole aspect of what is needed, you know, from you know, I'm sorry. You know, what is needed from a standpoint of all the resources. So I'm just so glad that you're able to utilize the resources of driver's license restorers.